My name is Akinyi, and this is my story, a tale I never thought would be mine to tell. I married into the powerful Kigen family of the Samburu tribe, known for their wealth, influence, and adherence to tradition. My husband, Njoroge, was everything I had hoped for, kind, strong, and devoted. Our wedding was a grand affair, filled with dancing, feasting, and the blessings of our ancestors. Life in the Kigen household was bustling and vibrant. Njoroge's father, Mzee Kigen, was a formidable figure, respected by all. He was a man of few words but great presence, and his approval meant everything in our community. Njoroge and I settled into our new life with dreams of building a family and carrying on the Kigen legacy. It was during a season of drought that our lives took a dramatic turn. The land was parched, and the once abundant cattle herds were dwindling. Tensions were high, and the weight of responsibility bore heavily on Njoroge, who was striving to secure our future. He spent long hours negotiating with neighboring tribes and traveling far to find resources. One evening, Njoroge left for a particularly important meeting, leaving me alone in the compound with Mzee Kigen. As the night grew darker, the air seemed to thicken with unspoken words. Mzee Kigen called me to his side, his eyes gleaming with a depth I hadn't noticed before. He spoke of the burden of leadership, the importance of family continuity, and the pressures of tradition. "You are a part of this family now, Akinyi," he said, his voice low and commanding. "It is your duty to ensure our lineage continues." I nodded, feeling the weight of his words but not fully grasping their implication. He leaned closer, his hand resting on my shoulder. The gesture felt heavy, charged with an intensity that made my heart race. "Njoroge has many responsibilities," he continued. "He may not always be here to fulfill his duties as a husband. Our family cannot afford to wait." I recoiled, understanding dawning on me with horrifying clarity. "Mzee Kigen, what are you suggesting?" His grip tightened, his eyes boring into mine. "It is your duty, Akinyi. Our family must survive." Fear and confusion clouded my mind. The weight of tradition and the expectation of obedience loomed large. I was trapped between loyalty to my husband and the demands of his father. That night, in a haze of coercion and dread, I succumbed to the pressure. Mzee Kigen's words echoed in my mind as I struggled to come to terms with the reality of what had transpired. Days turned into weeks, and Njoroge returned, oblivious to the turmoil that had unfolded in his absence. I carried a heavy secret, one that gnawed at my conscience and poisoned my every thought. When I discovered I was pregnant, the weight of my guilt became unbearable. Njoroge was overjoyed at the news, his excitement a stark contrast to the dread that consumed me. He spoke of our child with such love and hope, never suspecting the dark truth behind their conception. Mzee Kigen's eyes would meet mine across the courtyard, a silent reminder of our shared secret. As my belly grew, so did my fear. How could I bring a child into the world under such circumstances? The child I carried was a symbol of betrayal, a product of an unspeakable act. I longed to confide in Njoroge, to unburden my soul, but the fear of shattering his world kept me silent. The day of my child's birth was bittersweet. Njoroge was by my side, his eyes shining with pride and love. Mzee Kigen stood in the background, a silent sentinel. As I held my newborn in my arms, tears streamed down my face. I vowed to protect my child, to shield them from the darkness of their origins. But secrets have a way of unraveling, and the truth cannot stay hidden forever. One fateful day, an old midwife who had assisted in my labor approached me with a knowing look. She had seen the resemblance, the unmistakable mark of the Kigen lineage that skipped a generation. "You must tell him," she whispered urgently. "Secrets like these will only bring ruin." Her words haunted me, and I knew she was right. I could not continue living a lie, not when it threatened the very foundation of our family. With a heavy heart, I resolved to tell Nyorogi the truth, to face the consequences of my actions. The night I chose to reveal my secret was filled with tension. I sat across from Nyoroge, my hands trembling as I struggled to find the words. When I finally spoke, the shock and pain in his eyes cut through me like a knife. He listened in stunned silence, his world crumbling around him. Betrayal, anger and sorrow filled the room. Nyoroge's trust in me was shattered, and his relationship with his father was irreparably damaged. The Keegan family, once a pillar of strength and unity, was now fractured by the weight of our secrets. In the days that followed, the community buzzed with whispers and speculation. Mzee Keegan withdrew into himself, the proud patriarch brought low by his actions. Nyoroge and I struggled to rebuild our relationship, the bond we once shared tainted by deceit. I held my child close, determined to give them a life free from the shadows of the past. I knew the road ahead would be difficult, but I also knew that the truth, painful as it was, had to be faced. The Keegan family would never be the same, but in the ashes of our old life, there was a chance for redemption and healing. Life after the revelation was a series of challenges, each day a struggle to find a new normal. Nyoroge was distant, his eyes filled with a sorrow I couldn't erase. He spent long hours away from home, throwing himself into work to avoid the pain that lingered in our home. I could see the strain on his face, the burden of betrayal weighing him down. Mzee Keegan, once the respected elder of our community, became a recluse. The village whispered about him, their respect replaced by scorn. He avoided me, his presence a haunting reminder of the night that changed everything. Our once vibrant home was now a place of silence and tension. My child, little Kamal, was a beacon of innocence amidst the chaos. His laughter was a reminder of hope, a symbol of life continuing despite the darkness. I devoted myself to him, finding solace in his smiles and the simple joys of motherhood. Yet, every time I looked at him, I saw the shadow of Mzee Keegan's face, a constant reminder of my guilt. One evening, Nyoroge came home earlier than usual. His face was drawn, his eyes tired. He sat across from me, the distance between us palpable. "Akinyi," he began, his voice strained. "We need to talk." I nodded, my heart pounding. "I know." He took a deep breath, his hands trembling slightly. "I've been thinking a lot. About us, about Kamau, about everything." Tears welled in my eyes. "Nyoroge, I'm so sorry. I never wanted any of this to happen." He nodded, his expression softening. "I know. I believe you. But the pain, it's hard to bear. I look at Kamau and I see my father. I look at you and I see betrayal." My heart ached. What can I do? How can I make this right? He looked away, his gaze distant. "I don't know if we can ever make it right, but I do know that Kamau is innocent in all of this. He deserves a family, love, and a future." I reached for his hand, desperate to bridge the gap between us. "I love you, Nyoroge. I love Kamau. I want us to heal, to be a family again." He met my gaze, his eyes filled with a mix of pain and determination. "It will take time, Akinyi. A lot of time. Trust needs to be rebuilt, and wounds need to heal. But for Kamau's sake, I'm willing to try." Relief washed over me, a glimmer of hope breaking through the darkness. "Thank you," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. In the months that followed, Nyoroge and I worked hard to rebuild our relationship. We sought counseling from a wise elder in our tribe, someone who understood the complexities of tradition and modernity. It wasn't easy, and there were days when the pain seemed insurmountable. But slowly, we began to find a new rhythm, a fragile sense of togetherness. Mzee Keegan remained a distant figure, his presence a silent reminder of our past. He rarely spoke, his once commanding voice reduced to murmurs. The community continued to regard him with a mix of pity and disdain, his fall from grace a cautionary tale. As Kamau grew, he brought joy and laughter back into our home. His innocence was a balm, his curiosity and love a source of strength. Njoroge and I found solace in our shared love for him, our bond slowly mending with each passing day. This is my story, a story of love, betrayal, and the unyielding power of truth. It is a story I never thought would be mine to tell, but it is a story that needed to be told. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more stories and comment your thoughts. Bye.